All right, everybody, welcome back to the Kleen-Rite Radio podcast. I'm Fix It with Phil, and as always, I'm joined by my good buddy Mark Tyndale. And today is going to be a little bit more of an interesting topic. We're going to talk about AI a little bit, and that might seem like a foreign concept, right? We're a car wash podcast, but understanding how we can use AI to better our businesses, better ourselves, and get better understanding of the market, our area, our washes, the things that are out there, and just harness it as another tool in the tool chest, the tool bag that we carry around every day, right? Everybody has a computer. Everybody has a smartphone. As you think about these ideas that you have, you can use these different AI platforms to propagate thought.
Yep.
Or as Mark likes to say, use it as starter fluid.
Starter fluid. Took it from me.
So, Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Phil. How was your weekend? Mine was pretty productive.
Mine was productive, yeah. Did a little bit of car wash and a little bit of equipment building and took a little time for myself, not too much.
Yeah,
right?
I did a little car washing this weekend.
Yeah.
I told you about the trash fun I had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
So we came up with this topic, I think, because everybody's talking about AI, right? And we want to talk about how you can use it as a tool, but when not to use it as a tool.
Yeah.
And then, we're going to talk a little bit about the term, the human in the loop. You don't want to keep a human in the loop. But I use it. You use it.
Absolutely.
And like you said, I use it as starter fluid. It's not my decision maker. It's my decision starter. And then I build off of it. But for operators out there, I mean, there's some really low-hanging fruit that whether it's Chat or Gemini or Claude or whatever it is, there is some low-hanging fruit out there that can help you very quickly. And let's face it, there's a lot of people that don't use it at all.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole movement of people that are just learning it, learning how to feed it, learning how to talk to it. And then there's other people that are using it at a high level.
There are people that are using it to build businesses.
And we want to also talk a little bit about the security around it.
Yeah.
And, larger companies have their own compliance officers for it. And, also let's talk about being careful what you put in it.
Right.
So let's just kick it off. And
I think I agree with you. Let's kick it off. But I think that we should just, let's just baseline AI in total, right? Like, what is it? How do you use AI? We're not going to talk about a bunch of different platforms. That's not what we're here for.
We're not here to advertise platforms.
Right. We're here to bring to you AI is somewhat of a search engine, right? That you can put ideas into. Say you have an idea for your wash and you want to see if anybody else is doing it, if there's companies out there that make products to help you achieve that. Or you have a different idea for a business plan for your car wash. Maybe you're thinking about adding a dog wash in, and you can use that to try to help generate ideas. You could use it to help generate what a business model would look like for that. You can use it for projections somewhat, but it is not truly an end-all be-all to this is exactly how that business plan is going to go. It's again, starting fluid to get you moving in the right direction.
Let's start with the most basic uses of it, like where I've seen where it's helpful.
Yeah.
Right. So looking for if there's an issue with your water softener or you can go in there and it is smart enough to know how to fix a hydrominder.
Yep.
Right. I mean, there's some very basic stuff in there that operators can use on a daily basis for their very, thread sizes, water flows. It's very good at pulling, where I used to sit in an office and I had charts. You probably had the square D slide where you take a motor and it tells you that 5 horse motors,
amperage,
12
what
amps.
size wire you needed to use, all that kind of stuff.
It's really good for that kind of stuff.
Yep,
I mean, it's very accurate for threads and motor readings and amp draws and water usage and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can get some really good technical charts off of AI. And the more detail you give it, right, as you're asking those platforms the question that you have, whether it's flow rates or whatever, if you can give detailed information of what your pressure is coming in, what size feed line you have, what size feed lines you have within the room, those types of things, the more information you give it, the more it can develop the answer that you need it to, the answer that you're looking for, right? So it's not just a Google of, hey, how much flow do I get through a 3/4 inch piece of PVC, right? You can take that, put a pressure with it, describe your scenario to it like you're asking your buddy down the street who has that information, and then it can propagate the right answer for you.
When the human in the loop has the better knowledge to feed the AI gives you better response back. And what I've seen with it is that it will a lot of times give you A or B or a C option and a different path to go, and then you feed it a little bit more. So that's like the bare root, like your daily operations. I want to fix something, or I have a motor problem or a door problem. Even in the car wash specific industry, it's pretty good.
It's pretty spot on.
Yeah, it's not as good as a distributor being there, because not a lot of people, but some people probably wouldn't have the technical knowledge to feed it the right stuff that they might need a distributor anyway. But if you're really hands-on and you know what to feed it, it can be real helpful.
Yeah. And even in common situations, it can be, extremely helpful. And I think the whole point of the beginning of this conversation is, hey, it's there. And if you think that you have the wherewithal, technical ability to decipher what it's telling you, you can use it as a shoulder to lean on a little bit to get technical information to probably help you solve some issues that you might be having at your wash. So, it's not just an idea starter. It can give you some very concrete information to help you get across the finish line sometimes with smaller projects that you have, right?
Yeah.
I do agree that there is nothing like having a distributor come to you and be serious boots on the ground and help you fix an issue. But sometimes you can get yourself to a point where smaller things can be taken care of. Yeah,
because they probably already have that. Hopefully they have that part in the truck.
Exactly.
That you're looking in the interweb for.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's like the bare root, like use of it. We both use it, and we challenge each other on it. Hey, what do you think of this? Yeah, that looks good. Then there's that next level. Like we've been able to create like checklists with it by feeding it the right stuff. It knows the difference between a self-serve, an IBA, and a tunnel. It actually gathers data that other people feed it. So just be aware that, like we don't ever use our names. We don't use
car wash name
addresses. We don't use, company information. That you try to keep it as private as possible. Now, the larger a company gets, they create what's called a box, right? So you have your AI that can't leave the box because you don't want important information going out. But, a single site car wash operator, as long as you're not putting your phone number and social security number in there, you're probably
going to
safe.
be okay.
You're probably going to be okay. The internet has your information whether you know it or not anyway. Yeah.
But it can be a useful tool in the sense of, I want to dive into like having business ideas, having, you can feed it, hey, I'm a two-site self-serve IBA car wash owner. I'm trying to generate more revenue in the year 2026. Describe your sites to the platform that you're using, and you can give them some of the information of, this is how much I'm charging for washes. This is how much I pay out in utilities, so on and so forth. And then ask it to generate ideas for you to boost your revenue, whether that's, raising prices by putting G&G lights in, or putting new equipment in so that you can offer your customers a better experience so that you can then turn around and raise your lights, raise your rates, things like that, right? We can use this as a platform, as building blocks to better understand the industry And the reason that it can help you better understand the industry is because it's not only pulling information from other people that are in the industry that are plugging the information in, it's also gathering information from your end user, right? From your customer, what they want, what drives them to want to use these things. So it's a better way to understand your customer as well. And I know that it's not directly focused on the area that you live in, but it's taking it as a totality reading heartbeat of car wash users and what they want, what has been proven to work better.
And it does actually like somewhat geolocate, just fair warning.
Yeah.
When you're in it. So if Phil said, "Hey, I want to update my car wash," you can literally put a picture of your car wash in it. It will give you ideas, and a lot of times it could even go to all of our podcasts and pull the top 5 things from our podcast and apply that to your picture. I mean, I've tried it. It does some pretty cool stuff that way.
Yeah, and if you have that, idea of you want to put a dog wash in, right?
It'll give you good data.
You can plug that information in, plug your wash in and whatnot, and it will kick back some pretty good statistics on how that dog wash would perform for you in your area based on if there's dog washes around you, right?
I've played with it just searching for, hey, because the ICA does surveys. I just took the one for Car Wash Magazine where you put in and it's going to pull stuff from that too, right? Where average monthly IBA, average monthly self-serve. You can literally say, hey, I'm in, some parts of Oregon, for the Pacific Northwest, what is the average self-serve bay? What should it make?
Yeah.
And you can compare yourself against what some of the averages are, and what you might find is, hey, you're a little low. How do we get that up? Or what you also might find is, hey, I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little high.
You might be doing better than
you
you
might be
thought
setting
you were
the
doing.
average. You might be bending the curve on the averages. So, I mean, it's a tool.
It is. It is. So, as you use that tool, though, I think that I want to jump back to that human in the loop aspect that I think gets overlooked some, or people might not know about it is just a platform that is pulling information from other people as well as the internet, right? So you can't take it as gospel. You can't not do your due diligence and then research the information that it's given you. And the biggest disclaimer is going to be, if you are using AI to generate a business plan, you can't just print that business plan off and take it to the bank and hand it to them.
Recommend that.
And think that they're going to give you a bank loan, right? So
it'd be curious. We ought to ask it how many people in the last year put into an AI platform, hey, I want to start a car wash. Where do I start? I mean, that's probably a pretty popular.
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've used different, told me that I should do it right away.
Right away.
Right away. Yeah. Right. But I've plugged in the information of, this is the area I'm thinking about. I want to start a, X size car wash. What is the money needed, the capital needed to do that venture, and what would I be looking at revenue wise, so on and so forth. And it does a decently good job.
It does.
Right?
It does.
You can use it to help you better understand some business decisions that you make.
I've used it to help people with pro formas. It'll give, because car washes are what they call special purpose buildings. So the square foot price. If you just go to one of the platforms and say, hey, what does it cost to build a commercial building? It'll give you an average of your general area to build a commercial building. Well, a special purpose building like a car wash or a laundromat it's higher, right? Because of all the mechanical and stuff like that. But it did a pretty good job. So a lot of times when helping people, I tell them, you have to do your research. This is just a pro forma. It's all it is. But it does a pretty good job of estimating a low and a high for square foot construction for a car wash.
Yeah. So whether you're doing that for, I want to circle back on that, whether you're doing that for an entire car wash build or you're doing it to find out how much it would cost you to put metal roofing on your building,
Yep.
right? You can use it to estimate a bunch of things. And I think that's what we're really trying to get across to everybody is it's there, use it, but do your homework afterwards. You can't take everything it says as 100% truth, right? You always got to double check yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other side of this, where we talked about just using AI to, help you with your business. We haven't even thought about what's it going to do to our business in the next 5 years where it's going to be built into things. Like,
yeah.
I'm not talking about asking your phone a question. I'm talking about at the car wash. What's it going to do to pay stations and,
how are operators going to be able to harness AI to help generate sales for them at the pay station? How are we going to be able to use AI to answer questions for customers or take care of customer issues? It's a real thing.
And there's some scary stuff out there too with, retaining customers. Some of the larger companies are using like Netflix and, where they'll actually come back to you. And if you cancel, they'll negotiate a way, it's all AI generated, a way to keep you. It happened to me with Paramount or something. No, it was Rocket, the subscription app where I just tried it and then I canceled it right away. And then it said, well, what would it be worth for you to stay on?
Yeah. What do we have to do to keep you?
Yeah.
But if you think about that and then you put that into the club scenario and somebody is that user that signs up for the club on like pollen season and then they get rid of it at the end of pollen season, we're kind of putting almost a negative tone on it. But as we look at it in totality, like at the end of pollen season, if your AI part of your pay station was like, hey, what would it take to keep you all year?
Well, don't quote me on this, but somebody was telling us that there is some express chains or tunnel chains using surge pricing.
Yeah.
Just like Uber would, like you're really busy, so the price goes up.
Not
you're
my favorite thing in the world.
I don't love that idea. Your regular customers might not really be into that.
Yeah.
But it is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Can eventually that platform be a little bit more fair to your existing customers that use you all the time? Or maybe it'll get smart enough to say, well, I don't want to surge this guy because he's loyal.
Yeah, he comes every other day.
And they do
whatever
that with
is.
the license plate recognition.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be 2026 is going to be 2026 into like 2028, I think is going to be a really interesting stretch with AI and how much car washes in general, whether it's owners and operators, whether it's tech helping pay stations or business operations in general is going to get more, it's going to be more influential, right, on what we're doing.
I wonder if 5 years from now, you're going to go to a self-serve bay and it's going to say, hey, Phil, thanks for coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be interacting with you a lot more than they are today.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't know exactly how, but we know they will.
Yeah.
It's coming.
So one of the other, I want to switch back to how operators can harness AI in a really positive way. And I've done this multiple times, and that is setting schedules.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's great for schedules.
You can put all of your information, right? I have to do trash X amount of days per week. I need to PM equipment or, I need to set up a PM schedule. I'm available to go to the car wash X days a week, whatever that looks like, and kind of feed it some of the equipment that you have. And it will actually generate a PM schedule, a schedule for the week for you, and how much time it thinks it would take you to accomplish all those things, just to set a better tone for like, this is how much time I actually need to spend at the wash. It might make you more efficient.
I don't want to interrupt your great thought there, but so I know in some of my back office car wash software, it tells me like my busiest days of the week. It tells me my busiest hours of the day. I mean, you could literally put that into an Excel and use it to schedule your cleanup people, your trash people.
Yep.
Right. So nobody wants you. I don't want my trash people going there when there's no trash.
Yeah.
Right. So because it's just a waste. Then when they come back, they're doing double trash.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a great tool. To your point, the schedules. You say, hey, oh my God, you need to go at 2:45 and 5:35.
Yeah.
And you will have the maximum amount of, and the place will always be clean.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you use your imagination, there's so many great tools that are very low key, not intrusive,
but could make a huge impact on the way that you operate your business, right? We're literally right now talking about how we can use AI to better influence how we clean up trash at our sites. And people are like, out that are listening to this are probably like,
they think we're crazy.
What are you guys talking about? But if you think about that over a year span to how much you pay in labor, if you can, right, we're constantly trying to maximize ourselves.
Yeah.
So if you can maximize yourself, your business, the schedule your business runs on, and the people that you pay to do things for you, you're going to win.
I had a customer send me, obviously, an AI generated report.
Yeah.
He had, I don't know if his wheat miser wasn't working or his nozzles were worn out. And he shared this with me, which was great information, how much extra water he used in a year's time just in one bay. And he had 4 at the time. I mean, that's the kind of stuff, operators, before we started this, we were like, what are the top 5 concerns? We checked it.
Yeah.
And some of it was self-serve, some was IBA, some was tunnel, but one of them is expenses, right? So, you can look at chemical, water, sewer, gas,
all of your utilities
based on data that you put in. Real.
Yeah, and it's going to geolocate you, and it's going to understand based on some average temperatures and cold runs and hot runs, like what it actually looks like to make all those things happen. But I think that, it really what it comes down to is there are some people that are really scared of AI or they're worried about it. And then there's some people that don't know anything about it, right? And we're not telling you to,
run out and get it.
Yeah, like put the house and everything you have on AI, but it's definitely a tool. It's there. It's something to familiarize yourself with. It's something to get acquainted with and like definitely play around with now and then. And try to use it to maximize what you can do with your business, with yourself, your scheduling, all of those types of things, your ideas, right?
I think we're going to be talking about this in the podcast for the next couple of years, like spot checks and some stuff that comes out. Moving on, I wonder if you put in AI, what's the most popular tree company? What would it be?
I can tell you who it is. It's Little Trees.
Our sponsor
for this series is Little Trees, and we want to give a big thank you to them for being a fantastic partner of Kleen-Rite and now a partner of the podcast. It is the number 1 selling tree on the market. They have every scent that your customers want, and if you are not selling trees on your site, if you don't have multiple tree vendors on your site, you're missing the mark. And I would challenge you, let that be the first thing you put into AI. What trees should I be selling on my site?
Or where should I place my new tap clear
Tree
front
machine?
vendors? Point of purchase.
Yeah.
Right. At the vacuum poles, at the front of the bays or in the bay.
Yeah.
That's something we're going to be exploring a lot more.
Make that your first AI search and see what it does for you. And I guarantee it'll be a good one.
Yeah.
So just want to thank everybody for stopping in again. Kleen-Rite Radio podcast. We're here for you. And if you need anything else, give us a call, Kleen-Rite, and we'll get you fixed up.
And don't forget to like and share and give us some questions, some input. We're always looking for new topics to go over.
I'd be curious to see what everybody thinks of the AI that is
I think we'll get some comments on this one.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.